Alright, hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the, what is this, Losers Semifinals match of our Pikmin 3 Deluxe tournament.
It's Losers Finals. Anyway, so one thing you'll notice on Jay's screen is that he's playing in German. And it was actually discovered like pretty recently that German or Chinese saves like 4 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like JHawk is opting to stick with English, just probably for convenience, not having to switch his system's language.
Yeah. It's really only a 4-second difference.
Yeah, it's not like it'll make or break the run. But, you know, every second counts.
So what you just saw was a tutorial. It was just to show you how to whistle and throw our Pikmin. And we just rushed through that.
And now that we're done with Charlie's section, moving on to Alf's section, which will introduce us to Red Pikmin, and will be another tutorial sort of thing about, you know, how to grow all our Pikmin and
Lock on.
all the other things you can do with the Pikmin.
So here we're gonna be building
So
a
right
bridge. Yeah. And because the Pikmin are too slow, we're just gonna shove them.
And then since, while they're not carrying, you can just call them back and throw them, because that's even faster than just pushing them. We obviously can't do that to get them to build the bridge, because they would drop the bridge pieces. One thing to note about these bridge pieces is that the Pikmin will automatically go back to the bridge fragments once they finish carrying them. I'm not sure if that's specifically used in any percent anyway. I guess maybe the beginning of day 2. We don't really build a whole lot of bridges. There's a lot of glitches in this game to skip a lot of intended stuff.
Alright, so while we're carrying these 3 pallets back, both runners threw 1 red onto that 5 pallet to just get it down while we're plucking our Pikmin here. Oh yeah, and here we're seeing a bit of tech. Okay, so this is pluck canceling. When we cancel a pluck at a certain time, the Pikmin will just pluck up themselves out of the ground. It's minimal time save, but it adds up to a decent amount.
Ooh, Jay having a little trouble getting all his pellets carried properly here. That looks like that's gonna put JHawk ahead a little bit.
So what we'll be seeing both of these runners do is called seed manipulation. So if
you time the 5 pellet as sprouts are coming out of the onion, it can start sprouting out the seeds from that 5 pellet a little sooner. Just saves a little bit of time, lets you start plucking sprouts a little bit quicker than you would otherwise. Now we just gotta break down this wall here, and then that'll be it for day 1.
And then we get to sit through a 40-second cutscene.
So speedrunning this game is all about multitasking, like setting your Pikmin on a task and moving on to other things, doing as many things as you can at once as possible. And the beginning of day 2 really showcases this a lot. There's a lot going on right away as soon as we land. We've got 2 piles of bridge fragments to build. We've got to break down a wall. And all the while, we're going to be trying to grow as many Pikmin as we can, all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see how our runners are gonna be able to handle that.
So here we're gonna be throwing 7 in reds across, just to get them started and on this dirt wall, and minimize the time we spend waiting doing nothing.
Yeah, so if we don't do that, we'd have to set all our Pikmin on this wall and just sort of wait for it to come down. But by throwing our Pikmin across the stream here, we're able to just get a little bit more done at the same time.
You want to reduce the amount of time you spend waiting as much as possible in this game. Well, in any game. Here we'll be seeing something called nectar. So it will convert our Pikmin into flowers, and as flowers, Pikmin move twice as fast.
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunities on day 2 to flower our Pikmin, and we want to ideally get everyone flowered by the end of the day.
So here we will be seeing Jayhawk grab that strawberry. Now, Pi, will you explain how fruits work in this game?
So the fruits are, they're kind of the main objective of the game. And the idea of the game is our explorers have come to this planet to gather food for their civilization. But in 90%, we don't really need all that many fruits. We just need to get 2 of them, which would be enough to help them survive until the end of the run. We start off with 3 days worth of juice, and we need to have 6 days worth of juice by the end of the game. And we can do that by we only need to get 2 fruits in the entire run to do that. So now we've got rock Pikmin, which are they're really strong on impact damage, and they're able to break these crystal walls and crystals.
Here we'll be using some eggs to just flower some more Pikmin, and while we're at it.
Yep, we definitely want to get all of our rock Pikmin flowered before we get out of here. So now that we've rescued Brittany, that really opens us up to a lot more opportunities for multitasking because we can separate the captains. And right away here we see Jayhawk throw Brittany under the onion to have her plucking Pikmin while we start working on that gate.
While we're opening up a path to our first boss, Jayhawk's gonna be both runners will be killing these fiery blowhogs and then using them to draw on some Pikmin.
Yeah, so while we're fighting the boss with Brittany, we're gonna be building this bridge with our rock Pikmin and growing Pikmin on the other side with Alf. And sending Alf back to the onion here so that he'll automatically pluck up the sprouts so that our Pikmin will be ready for us when we switch right back to him. Alright, coming up on our first boss here, Armored Maudad.
So he is covered in a crystal, and like before, we can just break the crystal with rock Pikmin. The tail takes the least amount of rock Pikmin to destroy, and that's what we're gonna be breaking.
Yeah, it takes the least amount of hits to break, and it's also very conveniently placed so that you can charge all your reds on it.
And Jayhawk calling off of the Maudad to force him to come down. If you do not do this, then he will run and hide in the ceiling for a bit before he comes down again, because he cannot die on the wall.
Yeah, if he's on the wall, he has a hard damage cap where he will be left with 1 health no matter what. So that's why our runners do as much damage as we can to him, but not so much that he tries to shake him off. So once we get this phone moving, that'll be it for day 2. There's nothing else we can really do to speed up this day, so in the meantime we'll be doing a little bit more work, trying to grow some more Pikmin and get as many of them as we can flowered. And it looks like Jayhawk's holding on to his lead coming out of day 2 here. But there's still plenty more of the game to go. Jay could still make a comeback.
Most of these runners are really consistent. So yeah, I can see a comeback happening.
It's only be about a 10-second lead. It's still a pretty close race.
Anyway, so we're about to be heading into day 3, and day 3 has 2 major sequence breaks that we're gonna be using.
So first, Brittany's gonna land in this cave with yellow Pikmin, and normally what you have to do is grow 20 yellow Pikmin to push a boulder to get out of the cave, but you can actually walk up out of bounds and just get out of there right away without even activating the yellow onion, and that saves about a minute. And the downside of skipping the yellow onion is that we can't use yellows past day 3 for the rest of the run.
It also causes some problems with the weight in the Pikmin slot later on.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
And then once we
The second skip is much
yellow
larger.
Pikmin cave,
The second skip is like much larger.
yeah, once we escape the yellow Pikmin cave, we again walk up out of bounds and maneuver around some invisible walls to basically skip straight to the boss. of this area. Here we go. JHawk is walking up the wall here to get out of the cave.
Oh,
Ooh, and he slid down. That'll give
let's see if Jay
Jay an
can.
opportunity to catch up. And maybe take the lead. Oh, and Jay fell down too. Yeah, this is not an easy trick. Both of our runners having some trouble with this.
Oh, looks like Jayhawk got it.
JHawk is the first one to get
And Jayhawk
up
gonna
out
be
of bounds.
Jayhawk crossing the route the safe way. I don't expect runners to take the risky way in a race.
Jay having a little trouble getting over that route, but there we go.
So here, the wall is literally just floor here. We can just run up the wall.
Yeah, the collision on that wall is pretty weird.
So here we just
And
have
then-
up into an invisible wall.
Yeah,
So
so
the
we have
game
to
intends
take
the game-
slightly wider turns than you'd think here, because there's an invisible wall that would
Yeah.
that you have to stay on the left side of.
So the game intends us to build this double bridge, and then afterward, take a longer path to to our boss here. But this is basically.
Alright, so JHawk getting into the boss fight here.
We're gonna be
You're
sneaking
supposed to
along.
need 10 yellows to light up the bulbs to stun him, and we only have 5 right now, but luckily there's a yellow candy pop bud that we can turn 5 reds into yellows.
So what we just saw Jayhawk do was called a long whistle trick. So when a Pikmin is in your squad, when you go through a loading zone, they will teleport to you no matter what. Even if they're 50 feet away from you.
Ooh, and JHawk missing the 2 cycle.
Let's see if Jay can make up some time for that.
Looks like Jay mistimed his charges as well. So, you do different amounts of damage based on when you attack him in his animation, and it looks like both of our runners kind of messed up the timing a little bit.
At least the third wire isn't like far or too slow. Or you have to get a 2 cycle or the run dies.
So, interestingly, both of our runners having some trouble on day 3 in the exact same way. Alright, moving on to day 4, and just like day 3, we're going to be skipping straight to the boss, but this time we're going to be doing a new trick.
It's called a captain
called,
clip, so I'll explain it later. So when you pick up a captain and then you whistle, you drop them in front of you. In some cases,
and if you do that in a really precise angle in just the right spot, you can set them down out of bounds.
JHawk is actually getting his camera set up here. Both runners are taking a few tries to get at this clip.
Yeah, the angle you have to set them down at is really precise. So it's not uncommon to take 3 or 4 tries to get it.
Here we'll be using another long whistle trick to get it into to get out over here. So this is the sand boating mirror slug, and it's a really easy boss.
So after the first cycle here, we're gonna be using a couple of our Pikmin to get some bombs that'll be used to speed up the third cycle. If we don't use these bombs, there's a chance that the boss will not die exactly as he pops up, and that could potentially lose you, like, I don't know, like 5 seconds or so. But using bombs on the third cycle will
Definitely
guarantee killing him fast.
So if you're familiar with the Wii U version in here, in the Wii U version, we actually brought bombs into this fight for outside the area. But here, because the enemies out of half health, we don't have to do that.
So just like day 2, once we get the phone moving, there's not really much we can do to speed up the day, but we do still have to kill this enemy, collect the fruit, and break down this wall. And if we're too slow on breaking down the wall, then we will lose some time. But I think our runners are probably going to be okay with that.
And here we're going to be triggering a drowning cutscene because on day 5, with lily pad cycles, when the cutscene triggers, the lily pads will still be moving. So
so we don't want it to mess with some cycles on the next day. So we just activate the cutscene right now.
Yeah.
So JHawk seems to be maintaining his 10-15 second lead here, coming out of day 4. Now the start of day 5 has a lot going on. There's
Well, Jay wants to watch a replay here.
Yeah, the start of day 5 is going to be pretty complicated. It's another Pikmin growing section, so we gotta multitask managing growing Pikmin and moving on towards the next objective.
Day 5 has a bunch of sequence breaks. And right off the bat, we're already going to see one. So we're going to be using a Captain Clip to skip this bridge. This Captain Clip is much easier than the one and we saw in Tropical Wilds. Jack getting it third try. I think we can swim way better in this game than in previous Pikmin games, so we're just gonna let them swim across the river themselves.
So our goal here is to get 10 Pikmin as quick as we can and have them pull up the dam because we need to get the right side of the river flowing to move on. And then we're going to be growing 17 wings because that's the most you can get without really costing you time. Okay, so in the back section here, first we're going to be attacking this plant to get some spicy sprays. That'll be important for some boss fights later on.
And here we see another skip. So there's just some objects that you can just stand on and it just happens that this persimmon is one of them, and from the persimmon you can just toss the captain out of bounds.
Yep, so our runners will be using this fruit here to get our captain up out of bounds and then go straight to the boss fight.
We'll be using another longshot trick to get our Pikmin into this next boss fight. Now this boss fight, it unlike all the other bosses, has a hard damage cap.
Yep, so there is no way to do this fight faster than a 2 cycle. But what we are going to do is throw our Pikmin at the little guys and try to kill at least 17 or 18 of them. And if you kill enough of them, it will make the second cycle start a little bit faster.
It also lets him attack a bit faster on the first cycle kill.
And with a properly timed charge, these wing Pikmin should be able to take him down before he shakes off, but JHawk having a little bit of trouble there.
I see if Jay can be able to make us some time with that.
Alright, so now JHawk's coming into probably the most notorious trick in the entire game, Louis Clip. Because we skipped building a bridge to get to this boss fight, there's an invisible wall that we have to clip Louis through, and it can be very finicky. You can lose a lot of time if you don't get the clip right away. So let's hope our runners don't have too much trouble, but JHawk has some trouble with this. This could really give Jay a chance to catch up.
JHawk got it first try.
JHawk got it pretty much instantly.
Let's see if Jay is able to match.
quite as fast. Having a little trouble there. Almost got it.
There we go.
There we go. So that's going to help JHawk expand his lead a bit here.
Can happen. Still, anything can just happen. And then give Jay the lead. Anyway, so our next day will be day 6, and it's another, after a long day like day 5, we have a really short day on day 6.
Yep, so just like day 3 and 4, we're gonna be skipping straight to the boss again. So on day 6, we're supposed to meet our last type of Pikmin, the blue Pikmin, but we don't really need them very much in any percent, so we're just going to grow one and skip straight up to the boss.
Now our runners may opt to grow on some more, just in case of something really bad happens on day 7.
So JHawk taking his wing Pikmin over here. We're going to be using them to build this bridge that you can see
And
on
we'll
the
be
screen
using
there.
we're gonna be using another captain cloak. And we're also gonna be using an easy long whistle.
So originally we used to use the wing Pikmin on the boss fight itself to help make the fight a little easier, but you can charge them into that dirt pile and they will dig up some bridge fragments, and you can use that to build a bridge, which will let us carry Louie back faster. And Myroclops has a damage cap at about 3/8 of his health, but that damage cap goes away after a certain point in his attack animation, so if you're really aggressive on him, you can actually kill him in one cycle, even though it's supposed to take 3. And Jayhawk has a beautiful fight there. Jayhawk leaving the fight just as Jay is starting it. And let's see if Jay can have a good fight too. Perfect. Jay actually managed to kill the boss before it even shakes off.
Alright, so here our runners will be heading into the final day and the entire run.
Right, so day 7 is a lot different from the rest of the days. It starts off with basically an escort mission with you need to get Olimar to the end of the cave here before starting the final boss fight. And there's no set path that Olimar takes. He basically follows where Brittany is directly. And there's the Formidable Oak was designed in a way that was meant so that you can make progress, open up some shortcuts, and then like come back on the next day if you don't finish it all in one day. So we're gonna actually take advantage of that and build some of those shortcuts from the wrong way, basically. And there are a couple skips that we can do as well. There's not a bound section in the last screen.
Yeah. The cave was like really fast.
And Jayhawk does seem to have a pretty sizable lead coming into day 7, but anything can happen. The final boss fight can cost you a lot of time if it goes wrong. So first we're coming up on this bag here, and normally you're not supposed to be able to push it from back here, but you can charge your wing Pikmin up it, and they'll push it from below like that. Then we're going to build half of this bridge and just toss our captain across, and because we have wing Pikmin carrying Olimar, they can fly across the unfinished bridge. So now we're in the Jayhawk Zone, entering the final part of the cave, and you can actually just walk right up this route, up out of bounds, and that will let you, basically just walk around all the puzzles that you're supposed to do in this room. But while we're waiting for Olimar to catch up, Jayhawk is going to go and collect some bombs, and those will be helpful for the final boss fight. There's 3 bombs over here, and then there's 4 behind this crystal wall over here.
However, using bombs, if Jeff fails with the bombs or then something goes wrong, then it will cost him the race.
Yeah, it can, the bomb strat on the final boss fight can save you a lot of time, but it's,
If you fail it, you lose.
pretty risky. If it goes wrong, you're losing a ton of time.
Let's see how it goes.
You want to be super aggressive on this boss because if he can reabsorb all these blobs that
Oh,
got shaken off,
oh.
and if you don't kill him before he reabsorbs them, he's basically just healing a lot of damage back.
JHawk not having the best race fight here.
Not too great of a fight, but JHawk still managing to clutch out the win. As Jay's going into his final fight, let's see if he can nail that.
Okay, so that puts JHawk up into the finals against Ice Cube.
No, that puts Jayhawk into the losers finals with Clarence.
Oh wait, yeah, losers finals. Yeah, losers finals with Clarence.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize that. Alright, so.
Jay having a great final boss fight there. Unfortunately, not enough to overcome that big lead JHawk had going into day 7. Great runs.
Let's see if both runners have time for an interview. Hey JHawk.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about your run?
That was okay. I messed up yellow onion skip.
It was really funny. Both of you messed up day 3 in exactly the same way. Like you both had third try yellow onion skip, and you both had 3 cycle on the boss fight.
Yep. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, it's really bad day 3, but otherwise okay. Got scared on the wraith fight, but it worked out not too bad.
I think we can get Jay in here for an interview. Hello, Jay.
Hello.
What do you think about your run?
I think I've never been more upset about a race time before. I messed up so much. That could have been such a good run.
Yeah, some unfortunate mistakes there on day 3, and like you had a little
Bad
trouble
Louis
on Louis Clip.
Day 3 was definitely the worst. Day 4 was pretty bad as well. I could have gotten like a low 40 if those mistakes didn't happen. But yeah, that's it.
Right.
I golded day 6 though. That was really good.
Nice. And with that, it looks like JHawk is moving on to the losers finals against Claris, and that'll be our next race. So unless you guys have any final thoughts you want to say, I think that'll be it.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
All right. See you next time, everyone.
See ya.
See ya.
So-